Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are setting up my bullet journal for the month of June and I am so happy with the setup, with this theme. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Please let me know down in the comments if you like this vibe, if you like this setup, if you think this is very useful for you or not. All the thoughts, all the things, please let me know. Genuinely, it is so helpful and so insightful for me to get some feedback from you guys, to understand what it is that you guys enjoy seeing, what it is that you guys think is useful. So please let me know. Just don't be shy. Leave me a comment down below and I will get back to you. I swear. So yeah, for this month, we are diving into the coquette aesthetic, which I absolutely adore. I think it is so beautiful, but honestly, I had been avoiding it for a little bit, even though I think it's beautiful, because it is actually a little bit daunting. The thing about this aesthetic is that it looks so simple and it is very beautiful in its simplicity, but it's a deceiving simplicity, I guess, because it is also very intricate. It's very detailed. It looks very just delicate, and a delicate look can be kind of hard to achieve when it comes to drawing, because it takes a lot of precision, it takes a lot of detail, like I said. And so yeah, it looks simple, it looks delicate, but actually it requires a lot of work and a lot of precision to achieve. And so yeah, I was kind of intimidated by it, but kind of came up with something that I thought was really beautiful and that I was very happy with, and I decided to share it with you guys. I kind of went all out this month. I put my back into it. I will say that. I definitely put my back into this. We are exploring all the things, the Dutch doors, the tabs, the different spreads. For someone who did not understand the hype behind Dutch doors, look at me now. Genuinely, look at me now. I have kind of surrendered to Dutch doors. I used to think that they were a bit of a waste of paper. I thought that that couldn't be practical because, you know, then the texture of the paper is affected because you cut pieces of paper behind. Yeah, no, I've surrendered to it. I've just embraced my destiny at this point that I just love Dutch doors. And yeah, there are a few here. A few. We are going with my goal spread on the left of my cover. I have done this before. I decided to bring it back. I thought it was very, very cute. We are going in with tabs this month, and I wanted to reduce the number of tabs that I had going on. I had like 9? Yeah, I had 9 in both of my past months, and that was kind of just too much. But I didn't really know how to reduce the number without changing the layout. So we're changing the layout, and that's part of the reason why my goals page is there on the left. That is one last page that needs to be in a tab. And do you see this frilly, it's frill, right? It's frilly detail there. I'm so happy with that one. You will see in a little bit that will become a Dutch door. I'm gonna be cutting into that. I'm giving you spoilers. But anyways, I wanted to reduce the number of tabs on my bullet journal. I thought it was just a bit too many. And also I didn't really love the way that they were laid out with the spacing between them. And I felt like they were a bit too thick. And I wasn't loving the names written on the tabs. So I wanted to really simplify them a little bit. So for this month, we only have 4. They are thinner and they do not have names on them. They just have washi tape, which, considering the fact that I have less tabs, I don't really need the names on them regardless, because there are less tabs, and by just looking at the washi tape that is on them, I know what is in each tab, you know? So by simplifying, I can actually simplify it further because it kind of simplified itself. Say simplify 3 times fast. But yeah. And as you can see, my choice for this theme was essentially the bows. We also have like some frilly detailing, like the cute little frames, and in some bits we will have kind of like lace details like we have on the bows. But the bows were really just... I've always really loved bows. I adore bows. I used to, a few years ago when bows were in as well, I have this cute little Christmas themed tartan bow that I absolutely adore to wear on the back of my head. And I'm looking into bows again. They just look so beautiful. Even on Christmas presents, I absolutely adore making like ribbon bow, like bows out of ribbon, like out of fabric, instead of like the normal wrapping gifts material. But yeah, they're just so pretty. And like I said, we are cutting into that frilly bit. That is a Dutch door. Ha! And I am really happy with this, generally, because I figured out that the way that the frilly bit works, I could actually also do the frilly bit behind even after it was cut. So that was kind of ingenious of me, and I'm really happy with the fact that I came up with that. And which is why we have the little washi tape on the left there next to the gold page, because that way when we turn this page, we still have the same effect of the frilly bit on top of the washi tape, which is what I wanted. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. This was smart of me. I'm not gonna lie, this is smart. And so yeah, this is our monthly log. As you can see, this monthly log will not be having a tab. It just, well, it's behind the frilly bit, so I know it's there. And so this is also another way to reduce the tabs. This one will also be a little bit indented. It will have a little bit cut out from it at the end, and then we'll have the tabs. It's easier for you guys to see in a little bit, but yeah, that's what we're doing. And my monthly log, I wanted to dedicate it a little bit to reading. So we just have priorities because my tasks will be in my weeklies and my goals are already in next to the cover. So here I just wanted to put in priority. So if I have any kind of deadline, if there is something that absolutely needs to be done by a certain date, that will go there. And then at the bottom, we have my TBR and a little bit of a reading journal. I'm considering starting a reading journal, but I don't know if it's really going to be worth it to start one mid-year. I'm considering that because I do have like a bit of a reading journal setup at the beginning of my notebook. I have one for 2024 for my pages read and for my TBR and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I might postpone that until 2025 and maybe just track my reading in each monthly log. What do you guys think? If you guys think that I should start a reading journal, for those of you that maybe have a reading journal, does it really matter that much if it's just starting when the year starts? Is it kind of irrelevant? I would also really appreciate it for those of you that maybe already have a reading journal, what you guys think on that, because I am really torn. On one side, I really want to have one. On the other side, I feel like it's a bit weird to start one now, mid-year, you know? But yeah, so far, at least for this month, until I decide what to do, we have that little box for my reading journal. I also contemplated doing the frill in pink this time so that it wasn't exactly like the one before, but I liked it with the pink grid washi, and pink on pink wasn't really the vibe that I was going for, so I decided to maintain it beige. As you can see, we're heavily going in with the pink for this one. I have an issue with color palettes, and the thing is, I absolutely adore blue. Blue is actually my favorite color, but I don't really know how to work with blue in the way that I like, because I always go with warm-toned palettes. And blue, there are warm shades of blue, but blue isn't really a warm color, and I don't really know how to incorporate that into the shades that I want to use. So yeah, I need to figure that out. But in the meantime, we are sticking with the pink and like the warm tone beiges and the warm tone greens. But I will work on it. I promise. I want to bring you guys a blue themed spread at one point. That would be really nice. Moving on with my physical well-being spread. As you can see, I actually changed the washi tape on the left there because it was going to be pink on pink, and like I said, I wasn't really into doing pink on pink, so I changed it to the floral washi. You will see back and forth in my setup, I will be going just with these two washis. I wanted to be a bit more minimal since the coquette aesthetic is very detailed, and the drawings, even though there aren't that many drawings, they're very dainty, they're very, very delicate, they're very, precise in some ways. I didn't want to do too much with washi, so we have the pink gridded washi, which is very simple, and then we have a floral one which is very like neutral and simple as well, so that even though there is a lot of stuff going on, the drawing can still shine on its own, and everything can have its own moment, and everything works nicely together. As you can see, we're going in with a little bit of a border situation and just some bows to decorate everything. There in the physical well-being, we have a monthly log. As you can see, I was going to put in the days of the week, but I realized that I had not written workout log in the actual space itself, so it was really just unidentified, and I didn't want to do that. So I scrapped the days of the week and I just wrote down workout log. At the bottom there we have measurements. I am personally going through a weight loss journey of sorts. Not of sorts, I actually am. I'm following a nutrition plan to lose some weight. I have some excess weight going on and I need to drop that for health reasons, and simply because I'm not really happy with how I let myself get to this point. I have too much weight on me and it's not really good for my health, and I do not want to continue that way. And so the best way to keep track of it, and how we're keeping track of it, me and the person who is doing my plan for me, is weight, of course, but also through measurements. Measurements are kind of the best way, because you could be gaining weight through gaining muscle, you could be losing weight but it's just water. So measurements kind of give you a better idea of what is going on, because you track the volume, whereas the volume coming off of what is happening, So we're doing that. That is very specific to me, but if you're on a weight loss journey, maybe that'll be helpful for you as well. And then I have a little gut health situation, because gut health is so important, and I'm trying to keep track of what my body reacts poorly to and not. For example, this past month, I realized that I have horrible reactions to cucumber, of all things. Cucumber makes me flare up, so that was interesting. So yeah, I have that mostly for that purpose. Moving on to, this is not named because I felt like it was pointless to name it mental well-being, but this is my one mental well-being spread. This month we are going with simply just gratitude and affirmations, and my sleep tracker. I've mentioned before, a sleep tracker for me is a mental health mental well-being situation, not a physical well-being. Even though of course your sleep gives you energy, it also very heavily impacts your mood. It very heavily impacts your hormones, and those things feed into your mood. If I sleep poorly, my mood will be poorly as well. And so for me, this goes into the mental well-being. Gratitude, I have had that very consistently in my bullet journal. I really enjoy having a little space to just be grateful for the little things in the day, or the big things as well. And affirmations, I haven't put this in my bullet journal in a long while, and I felt the need to bring it back. It's just so nice sometimes to, I feel like the gratitude one is for the things I already have, and I use, at least this is how I do a lot of things. I feel like affirmations I use a lot for things that I want to be, things that I want to have, things I want to experience. So I feel like the gratitude is a bit more present based, and the affirmation is a little bit more future based, and kind of like me dreaming out loud of things that I would like to have within myself or in my life, At least that's how I use it. And so I felt like I kind of needed that back a little bit. So that's what we're doing there. And my sleep tracker, like I mentioned, it very heavily affects your mood. And so I have a little mood space there for my sleep tracker. It's really incorporated in there. I will usually track not just the hours that I sleep, but the quality of my sleep. I didn't use a key code situation for the sleep tracker, but what I'll be doing is the pink color that I'm using for the bows will be good quality sleep, and the beige will be bad quality of sleep. So whichever color I use to fill in the hours that I slept will tell me if that sleep quality was good or not, and then I'll just write down a word or a few to describe my mood, like meh, or upbeat, or excited, or kind of depressed, or whatever I'm feeling that day. I feel like color coding your mood can be a bit restrictive, also because you don't necessarily have the same mood throughout the whole day. So just like a smiley face or a frowny face might be a bit restrictive for what you were feeling that day. And so I prefer to use actual words. Even though it's not visually so easy to tell what was going on, I can very easily get an idea of what was happening that day. Going in again with the grid washi. As you can see, the tabs are thinner, like in width, but they're longer. And I really like how that turns out. Going on with my urban garden project. I called it Project Urban Garden. It's an urban garden project. However you want to say it, I like Project Urban Garden. This is so very specific to me. I did it practically exactly the same way that I did it last month. I like this thread so much. This is so specific to what I'm doing in my own life. I am trying to come up with a small urban garden in my balcony. I am so fascinated by plants and by nature and by the possibility of growing things that I myself can eat in my own little balcony. Like, that's so exciting. So it's going really well. I did this in my bullet journal last month. I really enjoyed this. It's so fun to go look at my plants and then fill in with what is going on. And so I decided to bring this back exactly the same. Didn't feel the need to touch it up. If you have plants, like just normal indoor plants, maybe you can do something similar for like when you last water them. Are they growing new leaves? Maybe they're a scientific name if you want to learn a little bit more about plants, like in the more theoretical aspect. What kind of lighting they prefer. Maybe that will be nice for you to explore, because I feel like this isn't just for me to keep track of what's going on. I feel like it's also for me to look back on what was going on with these plants. Like, what did they like? What did they dislike? Also, what am I learning about these plants? Are they teaching me things? Am I learning from them? For example, I have, as you can see by the list, I have a good amount of herbs that I'm planting. Some of them are doing great, some of them are not, and I don't really understand why yet. I'll figure it out. But for example, I planted basil and red basil. The basil is looking way better than the red basil. Why? I have no idea. There's probably some difference between the two that I shall have to figure out. But in the meantime, it's just fun to look at the differences. Also, like, the mint is doing kind of weirdly. Sage is looking phenomenal. Dill is kind of looking a bit leggy. But I also had dill in my balcony previously that I didn't know was dill. I feel embarrassed by that, but yeah. And that one is now going to seed, which is exciting. I will be able to collect my own seeds for dill that I will be able to plant next year. That's cool. And so yeah, it's just really interesting to see how nature unfolds and how you can plant just one little seed and a little bit of dirt, and it sprouts a plant, and then that plant will grow and possibly give you things that you can eat. Like, it's pretty wild to me, and it's so fun. If you have kids, or if you have like nieces, nephews, if you yourself want to grow things, definitely recommend. Just try it out with, if you even don't have like a balcony, if you just have like a little windowsill, plant some type of herb. It's so fun. It's one thing to buy like a pot of already planted herbs, like at a nursery or at the supermarket, and keep that. That's one thing. But it's honestly so much cooler to see it come to life, to watch it being born in a real sense. It's so cool. I definitely recommend that to everyone. It's so nice to just track that process. Moving on to my weeklies, because I already rambled enough about plants, but I really like plants. When I say that I put my back into this setup, I mostly mean my weeklies. I mostly mean this weekly. I am so happy with how this turned out. This was a labor of work. This was absolutely a labor of work, a labor of love. Wow, my English is failing me. This was a labor of love. I really wanted to switch things up a little bit. I mentioned in my previous video, which was my ideas for weeklies, that I really liked the Dutch door spread for the weeklies, and I decided to bring this into this month, but I wanted to switch things up a little bit further. So what I did was, there's my habit tracker here. There's a little list for highlights, just one highlight for each day. My calendar, cannot go without my calendar. And then all of the weeklies, so all 4 weeks of the month, will be on a Dutch door. So we have week 23, which is there. That bit on the right is going to be cut off. Then week 24 is behind it. And then there's another Dutch door, which will be weeks 25 and weeks 26. And then there are things behind those weeks, just like there will be things here on this page with habit trackers. It's easier for you guys to see what is going to be happening than for me to explain it. I feel like this is a bit more of a visual process, but I am so happy with how this turned out. And also this allowed me to reduce the tabs again. So I wanted to condense things into not smaller spaces, but just in a way that I didn't have to have such an overwhelming amount of pages for everything. I feel like that was also something that was kind of off-putting about using my bullet journal. There was too much going on, and just the fact that I have 4 tabs instead of 9 is a bit decluttering mentally. I feel like it's less overwhelming for me. When I grab my bullet journal, it's way more calming to see 4 tabs instead of 9, you know? So we're going in with the cutting. Listen, if you want to do this, if you want to do this yourself, don't be like me. Don't be an overachiever. Don't try to go for the lace visual. It's absolutely gorgeous. I do not regret how this looks, but this took a good while to cut. So, yeah. And then I have to go back in, because since I knew that I was going to be cutting it and there was no way that I was going to be able to perfectly align the lace pattern on one side and on the other, I just drew it in, cut it out, and then on the other page I just went in with my fine liner on where the paper was cut, and I just filled that in there. I hope that makes sense, because yeah, that was going to be better for my mental health, for my mental sanity, to do it like that. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with that Dutch door where week 25 is, because as you can see with the week 23, the lace pattern continues around the rest of the page, and since I wanted that to align well, I decided to cut it next to the other page. You guys will understand what I'm saying. I feel like this is very, like, this is really weird to try and explain verbally, and I feel like you guys will just see what I mean when you see it. But yeah, so I went with smaller boxes for each day of the week. I've been really into doing daily spreads where I can just make longer to-do lists. I have mentioned before that I believe I have ADHD, or at least some kind of like neurodivergency, or just really poor attention span, because I genuinely need to have a thorough list of the things that I need to do today or on that day. Otherwise I will forget, it will slip my mind, I will get distracted with something else, and just having a more extensive list of the things that I need to do and kind of like broken down into steps really helps me. And so my weekly spreads are a bit more for appointments, things that I need to do in that day, but not broken down into tasks, if that makes sense. And also a lot for my content. I like to write that down there for whether I'm working at home or at the office, that kind of things. And then just the more extensive, comprehensive list on daily spreads, which I have in another smaller notebook. And that is how I do my weeklies this month. You might have noticed from the past videos that I did not do a content planner spread. I decided to experiment with just a Google Calendar this month, where I can very easily like rearrange things. I feel like that might work a little bit better for me. At least I will experiment this month with that. So yeah, moving on to the last weekly. As you can see, I have not cut off that page yet. I will cut off my page here. And this is the last week, and honestly, the cool thing about this layout with the Dutch doors for the weeklies, my entire 4 weeks are set up so quickly. You just have little boxes, some drawings, and then the things surrounding them, which will work for all 4 weeks. The highlights will work for all 4 weeks. The tasks will work for all 4 weeks. I have a little space there for projects and readathon. No, I did not do a readathon last month, even though I kind of put self-pressure to do it. I did not manage to do that. Life got in the way. I will absolutely try my best to do it this month. Little project space is just in case I feel like dabbling into something else, like if I feel like crocheting, if I feel like starting a crochet project, like doing a blanket, if I feel like doing some candles, which I absolutely want to do some candles. whatever that case is, if I have a little side project going on, it'll go here, and I have a little deep cleaning checklist there, because I absolutely need to do a deep cleaning of this house. This needs to happen. It will absolutely have to happen. And so I'm just putting in a checklist of the things that I want to deep clean. I want to deep clean my oven. I really want to deep clean my fridge, like the actual laundry machine and the dishwasher, because there are like cleaning supplies you can put on those. So I'm putting a list of the things that I want to specifically deep clean for this month. And hopefully I'll get all of that done. Wish me luck. But yeah. And then, as you can see, so each Dutch door is a continuation of that lace pattern that envelops the rest of the page. And as I cut into that on the left, you guys will see how that turns out. It turns out so nicely, so cute. Definitely recommend, do not sleep on the gel pen, the white gel pen for highlights, and like some kind of a light gray for some shading. It will definitely make the difference in your drawings. It definitely makes a difference when you go in with lights and shadows. It definitely makes your drawings pop, and I am a big fan of that. And I definitely recommend, if you're trying to improve your drawings in whichever way, if you draw at all, definitely recommend. Again, going in with cutting. What I'm using to protect the paper underneath from cutting is just a cover of a notebook that I use. I don't really care if that one is damaged or not. I just use it like to scribble things on, so I'm fine with that being damaged. It's okay, and it's not the end of it. So that is cut into, and then just cutting in the last tab, coming in with a pink grid. I wanted to make these in a way that when you look at the cover, everything looks nicely. From the back, they all have the pink, the floral washi, so that when you flip the page, it is in contrast with the pink grid washi that is in the Kohl's page. But when you are looking at the cover, it all like looks nice. You guys will understand now in the final flip through. There we have it. There are the tabs. You see the colors are not intertwined. They are but there's, you know, like floral pink. Do not remember the word for that. And you can still get a good visual even when you flip the page, because I kind of put some thought into how that would look as well. And so it looks rather nice. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. I know I kind of went a little bit intricate with this one, but I hope that maybe this gives you some ideas on ways to kind of level up your bullet journal, if that's something that you're looking forward to. If you want to kind of minimize the amount of spreads that you have, like I did with mine, please let me know what you thought. I really appreciate hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!